Good evening, you're watching News Mongolian World. I'm your host, Anirkhan Batr. And for top stories, German extreme cyclists will cycle from the western to the eastern border of Mongolia. Mongolia has the highest number of cancer-related deaths per capita. 17-year-old Mungunzul received a gold medal from the 44th FIDE Chess Olympiad. And for the news, stay tuned. An extreme cyclist from Germany who has achieved a number of worldwide successes has come to Mongolia. His plan is to start his journey from the western border and finish at the eastern border of Mongolia.
The Federal Republic of Germany's extreme sport athlete Gyode Kunze, who started his goal of setting a new Guinness record from Mongolia, will continue his bike tour for a week. He talks about how Mongolian herders he has met while riding helped him with open arms like he was a member of the family.
I seem to encounter a lot of obstacles when I go from western to the eastern end. For example, some very hot days and very cold nights, unplanned mountains and difficult roads suit me very well. However, I am greatly encouraged by the fact that every Mongolian family I have met on my tour accepts me as a member of the family. This event will have a positive impact on the relations between the people of the two countries. I also hope that it will contribute to the promotion of Mongolia in foreign countries, the development of tourism and the attraction of famous athletes. The people of our country are paying a lot of attention to this journey. Germans are very interested in the dual Mongolian nomadic culture and landscape.
This athlete has set several world records over the last 10 years. For example, he traveled 4,200 kilometers from the western end of Australia to the eastern end in the shortest recorded time. He has even successfully passed the highest volcano in the world, a volcano in the Atacama Desert of Chile, which reaches 6,233 meters above the sea level. He is also the athlete who holds world records such as climbing 100,000 vertical meters in the Alps over a 14 days period and cycling the longest distance in the Great Wall of China.
Data shows that Mongolia has the highest number of cancer-related deaths per capita in the world. 75% of cancer patients are diagnosed at the late stage.
Mongolia records about 6,000 cancer-related deaths annually. 60% of the newly diagnosed patients are dying in that same year. 25% of the new patients are diagnosed at stage 2. Early diagnosis is vital for preventing further complications and it gives a better chance of recovery. Hospitals are working with an excessive load. People that come to the hospital face long queues to get early screenings and testing. At present, there are 24,000 cancer patients receiving treatment in hospital. At the National Cancer Center, patients are waiting to get radiotherapy and chemotherapy for 40 days at the maximum.
We are having a very high workload. Radiotherapy is being carried out with 2 linear accelerators which were installed in 2019. One accelerator treats 35 to 40 patients daily.
State hospitals have introduced an online system for booking appointments. However, the system needs more refinement to work better. This year, the Ministry of Health commenced an early medical screening program nationwide. The most common cancer in Mongolia is liver cancer.
New apartments and towns are being built with fences and vehicle barriers. Even though those fences protect people's privacy, they cause hard times for ambulances.
Emergency calls are being received through 103 and ambulances are sent to the locations. However, due to the rising numbers of apartments and their fences, ambulances are facing barriers to reaching patients. Most of the time, emergency doctors leave their vehicles and run towards the patients to save time. Dr. Batsitsik says she visits around 40 patients a day. Due to traffic congestion and disorganized buildings, sometimes she loses valuable time.
Most vehicle barriers are opened by use of private jeeps. We always face issues to open them. When it comes to care districts, their addresses are not clear and vague. We find a family by talking on the phone to get directions.
We received an emergency call this morning from Sukhwatr district. The apartment custodian opened the vehicle barrier for us. When we were ready to leave, the power went off and the barrier wouldn't open. We had our next emergency call, but we couldn't move from behind the vehicle barrier. After some time, the custodian separated the barrier by hand.
The emergency center of the capital receives around 1,000 calls a day. However, it's becoming harder for ambulances to reach their destination because the capital city is expanding with more disorganized apartments with unclear addresses.
Here's the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Now let's take a look at Mongolia's current affairs.
The 44th FIDE Chess Olympiad concluded on August 10th after 12 days. Besides team winners, the best individual players per board received special prizes and medals. Mongolian chess player Mungunzul received the gold medal for her best performance on board number 4. She played 10 match games for 8 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss. With an 85% performance, she became the best player on the 4th board. Mungunzul also brought the first gold medal home from the Chess Olympiad run by the International Chess Federation. Moreover, the Mongolian women's team ranked in 15th place among 162 teams from 160 world countries. It is the highest placing achieved in the history of Mongolian chess. On August 9th, the Ministry of Environment and Tourism of Mongolia and the International Crane Foundation signed a Memorandum of Understanding on the conservation of cranes and wetlands in Mongolia. In 2020, Mongolia declared the Urkhutang River Valley as a nature reserve. The area is a core breeding site for the threatened white-naped crane, great bustard, and other important crane species. By collaborating with the Wildlife Science and Conservation Center of Mongolia, the International Crane Foundation will introduce new management techniques to the Urkhutang Nature Reserve. The reserve is located in Hinti province and is home to the world's biggest breeding location of the vulnerable white-naped crane.
In Silong province, a couple in their 70s are inspiring their neighbors with their active lifestyle.
Besides caring for their grandchildren, the couple has a household garden and is growing a variety of fruits and vegetables. They say working in the garden keeps them active and full of life.
The number one ingredient for living well is work, if one can manage their time and energy well. We stay busy in the garden by watering and caring for our plants. We take hundreds of steps in our garden every day.
Since we are constantly active, we don't feel much pain in our bodies. 74-year-old Batsuk has only visited the hospital twice in his life. Due to his age, he recently met with a cardiologist. The doctor said if his heart is healthy, he could live another 20 years. Batsuk confidently told our reporter that he has decided to quit smoking, a habit he's had for over 60 years.
Here's the international news from our partner agencies. Scientists are tracking a new animal-derived virus in eastern China that has infected at least several dozen people. The novel Langyad Henipavirus was found in 35 patients in the Shandong and Henan provinces. Many had symptoms such as fever, fatigue, and cough.
Mr. Zhang and his family of 6.
They are thought to have contracted the virus from animals. There is no evidence so far LAV can transmit among humans. Researchers detected the virus predominantly in shrews. The discovery was highlighted in a letter written by researchers from China, Singapore and Australia and published in the New England Journal of Medicine this month. One of the researchers, Wang Linfa from the Duke and US Medical School in Singapore, told China's state-run Global Times that the cases of LAV found so far have not been fatal or very serious, so there is no need to panic. However, Mr. Wang said there is still a need to be alert as many viruses that exist in nature have unpredictable results when they infect humans. The scientists said Levy was found in 27% of shrews tested, suggesting the mole-like mammals may be natural reservoirs for the virus. About 5% of dogs and 2% of goats also tested positive for it. Taiwan Center for Disease Control said on Sunday it was paying close attention to the development of Levy. Levy is a type of henipavirus, a category of zoonotic viruses which can jump from animals to humans. Zoonotic viruses are very common but have attracted more attention since the start of the COVID pandemic. The US Center for Disease Control and Prevention said scientists estimate that 3 out of every 4 new or emerging infectious diseases in people come from animals. The United Nations had previously warned the world will see more of such diseases with increased exploitation of wildlife and climate change. Some zoonotic viruses can be potentially fatal to humans. These include the Nipah virus, which has periodic outbreaks among animals and humans in Asia, and the Hendra virus, which was first detected in horses in Australia. Other related henipaviruses have also been found in shrews, as well as bats and rodents. Satellite images appear to show extensive damage and several destroyed Russian warplanes at the Crimea air base following explosions earlier this week. The Saki base in the west of Russian-ruled Crimea was rocked by a string of blasts on Tuesday, killing 1 person. Ukraine has not claimed responsibility, but this new evidence suggests the possibility of a targeted attack. The images from the US-based Planet Labs show large areas of scorched earth left from fires that erupted. The base's main runways seem to be intact, but at least 8 aircraft appear to be damaged and destroyed, with several craters clearly visible. Most of them are in a specific area of the base where a large number of planes were parked out in the open, away from the cover of hangars. The before and after images from Planet Labs, which monitors hundreds of satellite feeds over Ukraine, are the first independent confirmation that the base may have been damaged. Until now, details about the extent of the explosion's impact have been scarce. But it is not clear how the base was damaged or by what. Russia insists that the explosions were caused by ammunition exploding in a store because of fire safety rules being flouted. Ukraine has not claimed responsibility, and its defense minister suggested that careless Russian soldiers could to be blamed. Any attack by Ukraine inside Crimea would be seen as an escalation of the war. Russia sounded a warning last month when ex-president Dmitry Medvedev threatened that Judgment Day will instantly await if Ukraine targeted Crimea. Crimea is internationally recognized as part of Ukraine, but the Black Sea Peninsula was annexed by Russia in 2014. Many Ukrainians see this as the start of the war with Russia. Now let's take a look at our regular feature on sports. Karim Benzema continued his Ballon d'Or pursuit with a 324th goal for European champions Real Madrid as they beat Eintracht Frankfurt to lift the UEFA Super Cup in Helsinki. Carlo Ancelotti's side, who beat Liverpool to win the Champions League in May, took the lead when David Alaba tapped into an empty net, with Frankfurt goalkeeper Kevin Trapp stranded following Casemiro's header back across goal. I believe this match was more complicated than we have anticipated, especially in the first half. We had difficulties having to look for the ball between the lines. Then after the first goal by Alaba, we controlled the match, not having much risks. Benzema doubled the Spanish Giants' lead after the break with the first-time finish from Vinicius Jr.'s cross to move second on Real all-time goal-scoring list, overtaking Raul and behind only Cristiano Ronaldo, who has 450 goals. Frankfurt, making their Super Cup debut, had moments of their own, the best when Daichi Kamada was sent through early on, but the Europa League winners looked second best once Real hit their stride. Benzema is coming off the most prolific season in his career, scoring 44 times in 46 games for Real Madrid to help his side win a Champions League and La Liga double, and he looks set to continue that form. The 34-year-old who captained Real in the Super Cup final said this week former teammate Ronaldo helped me on and off the pitch, but admitted he was able to adapt his game and score more goals once the Portugal star left. After his goal on Wednesday, Benzema is second only to Ronaldo as Real all-time leading scorer and starring at individual accolades as well as team prizes, becoming the frontrunner to win the Ballon d'Or in October. Serena Williams has announced that she will evolve away from tennis after this year's US Open to focus on other things that are important. Serena Williams wore her game face when she stepped out into the stadium for her first match since telling the world she is ready to leave professional tennis. Greeted by a standing ovation, the 23-time Grand Slam champion didn't smile. She didn't wave, she took a sip from a plastic bottle as she walked in. Some folks in the crowd captured the moment with the cameras on their cell phones. Others held aloft to hand-drawn signs, also many signs that with messages such as Queen or Thank You. No one knows exactly how many more matches Williams will play before she puts her racket away for good, and the 40-year-old American exited the National Bank Open on Wednesday night with a 6-2 and 6-4 loss to Belinda Bencic. While there were some familiar fist bumps and yells of "come on" during competition, it was only afterward that Williams really allowed her feelings to show, her voice shaking and her eyes welling during an on-court interview when Bencic ceded the spotlight. The second-round match at the hardcourt tune-up for the US Open came a day after she announced the countdown has begun on her playing career, saying she wants to have another child and pursue business interests. She did not state precisely what her last event will be, but did make it sound as if her final farewell will come at the US Open, which begins August 29th in New York. Williams has won singles title at Flushing Meadows at half dozen times, first in 1999, most recently in 2014, to go along with 7 championships apiece at Wimbledon and the Australian Open, plus 3 at the French Open. Next up on her schedule is the Western and Southern Open in Cincinnati next week, another event that serves as preparation for this year's last Grand Slam tournament. Williams, a 3-time champion in Canada, started this match, fittingly enough, with an ace. Delivered another later in that game too, showing off the superb serve that helped her to so many match victories, so many tournament titles, so many weeks at #1 in the rankings. Now let's take a look at the weather forecast of world's major cities. Well, that's all for today, and thank you for staying with us. We will see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.